Welcome to the Live the Call podcast, where I speak with guests living and working their soul's purpose. I'm Pamela Downes, founder of Spirit Calling and trans-channeler of the Great Council of Light. Every episode, our guests share their awakening story, and together we learn how they came to live their spirit's call. Join me in tales of self-discovery, enlightenment, and transformation to amplify your healing journey. Welcome to another episode of Live the Call. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Faith Streng, a third-generation psychic healer and teacher. Faith's remarkable work combines past life healing, energy balancing, channeling, and coaching to create truly liberating and transformational experiences for her clients. Starting her journey working with animals, Faith continues to volunteer at an animal sanctuary around Southern California, transmitting light language. That's so cool. She's passionate about building community and now works with star seeds globally. Her work has been featured in Shout Out LA, Voyage LA, Canvas Rebel, and many podcasts. A Midwesterner at heart, Faith now resides in Los Angeles, and her jazz musician husband and your happy plants. It's so fun. Let's dive into her incredible journey and the impact she's making in the world. Welcome, Faith. You have such an amazing energy and a beautiful smile, and I'm so happy to be with you today. Thank you for being here.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here too.
We're all just so happy because as my community is finding out, I'm talking to more and more of the content partners that are on the Ethereal Network, which is a new streaming spiritual network, etherealtv.net. And we're all getting to know each other. We've seen each other as this is progressing, and now it's time to start intermingling. So I would love, our podcast is an inspirational podcast. We're showing people who have woken up and have tapped into their gifts. You're a third generational healer, which is amazing. So, you'll talk all about that. But there was a moment, I'm sure, where you felt a calling to do more and to step into these gifts. And so I'd like to inspire our community and talk about what that looked like, because they aspire to be, stepping into the spiritual journey. They don't know what to expect. And oftentimes that involves healing and maybe working with psychics and all the good things. So I'd love to travel down that journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this beautiful space and this beautiful platform. It's so important that we have these opportunities to share our experiences, share our stories, in turn that we can help others on their path so that they can help others on their path.
Right.
And it's just this beautiful domino effect. For me, being a third generation healer, I was introduced to a lot of these concepts at a very young age, but it was always in the background for me. I had my career, my life set from 5 years old. I knew what I wanted to do, and I worked really hard to do it. My background is as a performer and an actor. And it took me many, many, many years until I was in my early to mid 30s, where I had a deep enough dark night of the soul that I finally surrendered, because I realized what I was so certain was for me. And because of my background in spirituality, I thought I knew my spiritual purpose. So it was this really deeply ingrained belief, but it wasn't working and I wasn't happy. And I knew I could be happy. I knew my life could be abundant. I knew I was here with a mission. And so at that time, when I finally threw up my hands and said, I guess I don't know, and I'm willing to be open to something else, that's when eventually it came in. That's when I remembered who I was and what my childhood was, and that I have this powerful DNA in my lineage, and that I was called to be of service using all of these gifts, and it lit me up from the inside out. And that's how I knew it was the right path.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I'm just curious. What did you want to be when you were 5 years old? What was this career path that you had destined for yourself? Was it acting?
It absolutely was. I started doing theater
Yeah.
when I was really little, and that's all I ever wanted to do was perform.
Yeah. So you were tapped into that inspiration, that creative energy. at a very young age, much like myself. And that's where you felt safe. That's where you felt your happiest. That's where you felt free. And so you
Mhm.
were, we don't know it at the time, but we were connected in such a great way. And we were continually being connected because that was what we enjoyed doing. To feel that light from within, to just come in, expand you physically, show you spiritually, energetically show you, it's undeniable. You can't walk
Yeah.
away from moments like that and say, I'm just gonna, okay, I'm gonna live the next day just like I did the day before. No, everything shifts and it changes. And there are those aha moments. There are those moments where something's different. Your perspective changes, the way you look at the world, the way you look at yourself, the way you look at your days, the way you look at your work, your family, everything changes. So what happened after that moment?
I started learning and consuming as much spiritual material as I possibly could.
Mhm.
And I returned to my meditation practice in a very big way. I returned to these healing modalities. The modality my mother and grandmother did was called spiritual response therapy, which is a form of Akashic healing, and then Reiki. And I felt so much more excited and expansive to just exist. And it felt like there was so much potential that was just waiting to be tapped into. And I
Mm,
also acknowledged that the vision I had had for myself was too small. And
mm,
that everything I had been through, all of the training, all of the experiences, I knew so deeply they were leading me up to this moment and that I needed to experience all of them in order to be of service in the way that I was being called to.
yeah.
And I got much more careful with my energy, with the relationships in my life. I became so much more aware of this deep calling and that it was my responsibility to support that in all the ways that I could to my body, my mind, and my spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that we've done, our unique talents and abilities are there for us to explore because we're honing our skills and we're bringing them to the future. We don't know that our performing and our the same thing with me. It's like every time I talk to someone that's on the same, same wavelength, we're in the same place right now. We're about ready to just expand our reach globally. And not that we haven't, but in a big way. I was a performer too. And I
Mm.
remember like going out and having to play classical music with all these people who I thought I wasn't as talented as. I didn't have the same confidence as they. And then having to go back into that as an adult and stepping on a
Mm.
stage and singing in front of 1,000 people and all of these things. I didn't know it at the time, just like you, but that was helping us to build the confidence, to build the stage presence, to build the understanding, to build the experience, all the things that we needed to serve because our greatest work, our soul's work, is to serve. And it's just so cool. So thank you for sharing that. And I love hearing it. And I love, back and forth and just being able to share my story too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's neat. Now, did you have a lot of time with your grandmom? And is she still with you? And is she in spirit?
She is in spirit now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did she see you step into your spiritual gifts?
Not while she was in this plane.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, and I just wonder what that would have been like for her. I know she's with you energetically. Yeah,
Yeah.
and your mother, she does the same thing, the Akashic record and Reiki.
She does. She kind of flits in and out of it. It hasn't been as deep a part of her life as it has become for me.
Hmm.
But my spiritual journey is so deeply entwined with her spiritual journey. And she
Hmm.
introduced me to so much, including all those Hay House authors when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And now it feels like I get to give back to her with all the things that I'm discovering and I'm learning. And so we're very, very close, and she is very much on this path with me. And it's just kind of been like this for both of us, just the in and out, the in and out.
Yeah. That's amazing to be able to have that experience with your mom. Yeah. Do you have siblings?
I have some half siblings and step siblings, but I was basically raised as an only child with me and my
Mhm.
mother.
Are
Mhm.
you, or is anyone else in your family into the spiritual space and working?
My aunt, my mother's sister, is really getting into the Abraham Hicks community. She's
Yeah.
very much into tapping. My husband is very open about having been in recovery for many, many, many years, 17 years. So he's very active on his spiritual path in that way. And then my grandfather, my mother's father, was actually part of a channeling group in Detroit in the
Ooh,
70s. So he's
how
no longer
cool.
with us. He died when I was 3, but I've inherited a lot of that information from him as well.
That's so neat because they say that it does come down that way. I don't know anyone in my family that I do. I'm a channeler as well, trans channeler, and I don't know anyone in my family. There's no stories of anyone
Mm,
that did this work. You know, my father's mother was creative. She used to draw, but she wasn't a professional artist, nor did she do it like. Did she spend like a lot of her time getting into the creative space? She dabbled in it here and there, but other than that, like yeah, it's not a part of my story either. I mean, like many others, but it is for you.
mhm.
I think that how old were you when you started working in spirituality? Because you seem like you really were tapped in very young.
My mother and grandmother started doing the healing work for me and talking about it when I was 5. I picked up the pendulum myself and started working in the spiritual response therapy charts when I was 19.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
It's really neat. Those of us
yeah.
that are my age, you know, we had our, I call it my knockdown spirit was like, it's time. Psh, psh, you know, you need to shift the perspective. Psh, psh. And,
Right.
and that was like me at like 37. So
Yeah.
for you to have that gift so young is amazing. And for you to be able to step into your spiritual gifts and serve and help people, it's absolutely amazing. Um, so can you talk a little bit about your work and what you're doing right now and maybe like tell us some of the things you're working on with your clients?
Yes, absolutely. So now my sessions are very easy and casual. It's just me tuning in a waking state, moving between the Akashic records, which are past lives on Earth and other dimensions, parallel experiences, as well as balancing the chakras, tuning up the organs, channeling from guides, mine or theirs. And then spiritual coaching is interwoven so easily into all of it. And a lot of times clients come to me when they are not new to the spiritual path. They usually find me
Mm,
when they've tried many other modalities or when they feel like they've outgrown therapy and they need something a little bit more robust in this space. People find me who want to deepen their psychic abilities. It was a total delight to me that I was not expecting it as I started to work with people, releasing the effects of trauma in the body, the mind, and the spirit. Their psychic abilities were opening up quite naturally.
yes.
And now I've worked with people on enhancing their telepathy abilities, animal communication, mediumship, of course, light language, and accessing the Akashic records and gifts that I don't have, which is really exciting too for me. I work with a lot of business owners, a lot of people who are at the beginning stages of their business, helping them get
Mm,
very clear on next action steps to take, how to step into their confidence, and how to find their peace, which are the biggest things that I do. And I offer one-on-one sessions. I have 2 more retreats this year coming up, one in Sedona, which is an art and spirituality retreat at the end of July, and then one in Ireland, the Celtic Fairy retreat in September. And I
that's
have
fun.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. And I have an online group as well, our own little spiritual Facebook, the Cosmic Joy community, which we have available too.
That sounds so sweet. I love all of that. I love it. I love the destinations. I love the names. It sounds like everything I would love to do and spend my time in.
Yay.
So did you, when you were, evolving in as a young woman, what were there, were you finding conflict or contrast, not conflict, but contrast in, how do I create a successful business? Like, how do I move forward? forward, like, because no one teaches you that. You've got this beautiful set of skills, and you were in this other field, and now suddenly you're like, I have to create a business so that I can support myself. And it's not often easy. It's not, nor is it something that just comes naturally to everyone, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a lot of free workshops and master classes when I was first starting out. And I knew from my background as a performer that it was really important for me to continue to build my own network and build
Mhm.
relationships with other spiritual healers. So that was probably the smartest business strategy I had before I even knew what a business strategy was.
Right. Exactly.
And it slowly has been, well, actually not so slowly. It's actually all happened quite quickly, but building, expanding and expanding. I admittedly have a lot of ambition, which I am also learning to temper that when
Wrangling.
it needs to be tempered. And I also have a lot of masculine energy that wants to do.
Yeah.
So in some ways, some things were easy for me. I've also found that entrepreneurship really resonates with me, and I really thrive in that space. One of the many odd jobs I've had was being an assistant in Hollywood for 9 months before I called in sick and never went back. And I learned so much in that corporate setting that has supported me in my own entrepreneurship business.
Hmm.
But it's really been always learning, always asking for help, always not Netflixing, or maybe watching things on Netflix, but right.
No, but
Yeah. And knowing that if I continue to do my spiritual work, if I continue to learn about business, and everything that is encompassed in that,
Hmm.
that I cannot fail.
Right.
That there are valleys and there are peaks. And now I feel
Yeah.
fortunate I have enough experience to know that's just how it goes and to get a
Hmm.
little more comfortable in that.
Hmm.
I know that I'm being guided in things, but it is constantly pivoting and constantly learning and trying new things and working with different coaches and taking different classes and then taking a break from all of it and just letting it all settle,
Letting it all sit in. Yeah.
letting it all sit in. And one of the things I work with my clients on is being very clear, like, listen, maybe you don't want to be an entrepreneur because it does take a certain kind of mindset, or maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, but you want to work with a collective in some way. And that's
Hmm.
totally beautiful. But for me, I felt like I was so hungry for information that I created my own grad school in a very condensed amount of time.
Yes.
And now I'm just always eager to learn and grow in new and exciting ways.
Yeah. And you will continue to manifest that because that's the energy that you're putting out there. And as long as you can handle it and you understand how to rein it in or funnel it, or not even funnel it, but guide it in the directions it needs to go, you'll be fine. And it's I I was just on a podcast earlier today talking about this. You're either born as an entrepreneur or you're not. There's a certain personality, there's a certain amount of courage, and you have to be comfortable in the uneasiness because it ebbs and flows and ebbs and flows, and that's the nature of the business. And as spiritualists, you are I've been an entrepreneur since 2000. You are continually, you're working in the business, on the business, and as spiritualists, you're envisioning the future of it. You're drawing it in at the same time that you're working in it. It's this continual like flow and casting and receiving. And I know it can be exhausting because spirit always has me, just like my very, very first job, I was managing publications. I was an art director for a magazine. And so you're putting one not episode, that's our shows, one issue.
Right.
You're putting one issue to bed. You're active in one, and then you're planning and prepping for the future one. That's what you're doing as an entrepreneur constantly. constantly because you're looking at the past project. How did it function? How did it perform? How was it received? How did I make money on it? Did I make money on it? What did I like all the things? What did I learn from it? And then you're in here on your stew of current opportunity, and then you're thinking about what can I do, for the future. And sometimes we forget that it's all inside of us. We are generators. We close our eyes and we envision what it is that we want. And I think that that's part of what we teach. I'm not teaching entrepreneurs. I'm teaching people who are, starting their spiritual awakening journey, but I'm teaching them to understand frequency and vibration and, the basic understanding of how the universe works, and then you're able to apply those things to your life and to your business, to your relationships and all the different things. So it's beautiful to hear you like talking about the bundle that you carry with you and all the stuff that's in your bag, and your tool belt and your overnight bag and all the things you're doing every day to take and work in your skill. Um, what is it that's your most favorite thing to do with your clients that you just love and you lose yourself in, you and they?
Mm. The past life information that comes through, or the
Mm,
Akashic information that comes
yeah,
through, which has its ties to my background as a storyteller,
yeah.
right? And the information that comes through, I always say, I could not make this up. Like, I
No.
could not make up these incredible stories that always, whichever one wants to come through at that time, always has information for us,
Hmm.
right? Whether it's something that we're releasing or something we're calling in. But because I go in open-ended, I have no idea what's going to come through, whether someone was a giant bug in a past,
Right.
life, or right, they were a queen or whatever it was. But it's always interesting, and it just reminds me how exciting it is to be a human, that every single, right, isn't that the saying, everybody has a movie in them, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's got a movie in
absolutely.
them.
Yeah.
And I love being a part of revealing these wild stories that don't get told as
Right.
often. Yeah.
There are wild stories. I was channeling this weekend with a friend. I went to Boulder and we had this like whole bringing in the future retreat. It was so much fun. And I was channeling and it's funny that you brought Bug up because one of our guides came in, Tenon, who is a praying mantis, and like his energy was so interesting and so excited and like so super high frequency. And like we were listening to the recordings when we were done, like laughing our asses off because it was so fun. We're like, if anybody could hear us out in the hallway of the hotel, they would be like, what's going on in there? But that it is, this is just the body that holds Faith's energy body. And this is the body that holds Pamela's soul body. And it's come and it's traveled all over the place and it's here right now. And,
Mhm.
we're here to be at this particular time on this planet to do this work. And now we're being amplified by the
Mhm.
founders of this spiritual network. And we're meeting each other again. And we're connecting now in a way, like I've always seen this web with these lights, like what's behind your head all around the planet. And they're igniting. And we're part of that. We're
Mhm.
the beginning igniters that are igniting the rest of the planet. And it's so exciting and it's so beautiful to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the future and what we all do together because there's so many things I think we're going to do together. So
Mhm.
can you talk about maybe a program that you're offering or something you just love to share that's something that you've created that you're bringing to the world right now?
Yes, I do have a subscription service, the Starseed Collective, and that includes a monthly call. I say that it's your spiritual higher education course and accountability group. And every month, people get a personal newsletter from me on a different guide and how to work with them and my personal
Mm,
experiences on working with them. So This coming month, we're working with the Andromedans. We've worked with Krishna and gnomes and Babaji and Saraswati and so many others. And there's a lottery for a session with me each month. And they also get access to the Cosmic Joy Community, our online platform to support each other during the week. Creating community has been so important for me from day one, because so many people who are coming to me had no one else to talk to about these transformations and experiences they were having. And so very early on, I knew it was important for me to connect my clients to each other. And this is really the culmination in that. And it just continues to grow. And it's just been so beautiful. I'm so grateful for the inspiration and everyone who's been called to it.
That's amazing. You can tell that you are. I can just see it in you. You seem so happy about it. Because it is a beautiful place. And for those of you who are, before we end the session, you're going to tell us where people can find you, and we'll also put all of that information in the show notes. But if there's one thing that you can tell someone who's listening, it's all about listening to that inner guidance, learning to hear your soul's call. There's many times in your life when you've had that opportunity and you remember when you didn't and you wish you did. And so it's about continually learning to do that and the benefit of the other side of those choices. And so if you could just leave our community with one thing that you wish that they would take away from today, what would that be?
Seek out and make time for what makes you feel peaceful.
That's good.
And make it non-negotiable for your life.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's important. A lot of times we don't think about that. We don't have the time to even think about that. Right? So it's giving yourself that time and making it non-negotiable. Thank you so much for that. It was beautiful. I just love sharing space with you and getting to know you. And I'm sure my community's excited to hear about your life as well. And if anyone has questions in the show notes, you can reach out to Faith directly and visit our website, and all of our good stuff will be down there. So I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Yes. And for everyone who's listening, remember, every moment is an opportunity for you to hear your spirit, to put one foot in front of the other, and to live the call. I hope today's episode sparked insights for you on your healing journey. If you're searching for support and connection, you should join our community at spirit-calling.com. Spirit Calling is a like-minded community of spiritual individuals learning, sharing, and growing together every day. No matter what you're experiencing in your journey, you'll find resources and a community to support you along the way. Until next time, keep listening to your internal guidance and stepping into your spirit's call.